Hello, and welcome to Things We Learn on a Monday morning. I'm Jason Skippers, and welcome to the episode. We're doing this episode slightly differently, in that I'm starting off with this. Well, first of all, thanks so much for those that have followed this journey of this podcast. It's been fun seeing the different listens and how people are taking to YouTube over Iono, just pure audio listening. So this is actually quite a fun exercise, and just seeing how you guys engage with the content. So it's been quite rewarding and quite fun to see that. And so I say from my side, thank you for tuning in and engaging with this content. It's really been a good thing. So thank you. And in the spirit of this content, and what the topic I'm talking about today is actually the topic of consistency. It is something I've been engaging with, thought, the process that just I've been challenged in this area recently, just the area of consistency, continually showing up, and the power that lies within consistency, and also the challenge that lies within it. And today's episode won't be too long, hopefully not too long, but there's just three things I want to touch on in the area of consistency, and I'm going to play two videos and just feast off or draw some conclusions, some thoughts. Consistency. What a word. And in its essence, it speaks about the continual showing up. It is the repetitive nature of doing the same thing at a same level or even greater, but continually doing it over a period of time, which one can constitute as consistency. It is doing the same type of exercises or continually exercising 3 times a week throughout the year. That is being consistent, continually doing the same thing. Or if you use it in the term of baking terms, or use it in the concept of baking terms, or liquid consistency, it is that it is even throughout. It's a particular thickness or particular measurement thickness, but it's consistent and uniform all throughout. So that is what a consistency is. So the consistency of milk versus the consistency of Jello. Jello is solid, or jelly is solid, and that's its consistency versus milk, which would be a bit more fluidy, if you want to put it that way. But it can be measured by, if you wanted to measure it out, it's consistent all the way throughout. And so that's what consistency in essence is. And I've been challenged in this area, particularly doing this type of content or in all other aspects of my life, but being consistent is important. So these 3 things when pondering and preparing for this episode, there's 3 things that really stood out for me with the word consistency. And the number 1 is, the key to your competitiveness is consistency in building the basics. So I repeat it again. The key to your competitiveness, particularly in all aspects of life, or particularly in work or sports, it's consistency in building the basics. The more you do the basics, the more, and often over time, you will reap the results. And particularly in my industry, or the content space or podcasting space, is quite a competitive space. And competitive in the sense that we are competing for your mind, your focus, your attention, but also the amount of people being able to produce content and music is insurmountable. Well, you can necessarily count it, but the potential is just overwhelming. So we are we're in competition for your time and your space, and what we found is often yield the best results in attaining your attention and your focus is consistency. Consistently producing and churning out quality content, or content that you have committed to. So if you've committed to a particular quality and level of content, continually producing that and putting it out there, people can latch into it and say, you are consistent. I can listen to your brand, I can listen to what you have to do, or what you do, or what you release, and stick with it. And in that day in, day out version of churning things out, there is a pain and a discomfort in it. In fact, as I would like to form it or say it, is that consistency is discomfort. It is inconvenient. It needs you to be disciplined to do things, especially when you don't want to. It builds your ability and resilience to execute. It's your school fees. And I think that's what the crux of it is that it builds your resilience to execute, because over time, if you do the same thing over and over and over, your body's used to it, your life rhythm is used to it, So you're able to execute a lot easier, but you're so familiar with it. But also, it also sharpens your ability to execute quicker and faster. And with technology, you're able to do things better. And that's something I found, particularly within podcasting, with the crazy amount of hours I've been doing in this space with the previous business, but also now with my other clients, is that the hours of editing and recording and capturing and the knowledge that is acquired over time allows me to work a lot quicker, but I've put in that hours of consistency, putting in, being able to produce quality product. And obviously there's certain variables like equipment, and a client that doesn't have proper mics, and they're using their onboard mics on the laptops, or they're recording in a remote space where there's amazing birds tweeting in the background, and that's something you can't mitigate. That is the reality of remote recording, in particular with podcasting. But you're able to then contextualize it in a space and saying to the listener, hey, we are recording remotely. So you may hear the odd bird or dog bark or car drive, but just know that our guests are recording in remote spaces. So those type of stuff you can contextualize. But for the most part, my job as the producer, audio editor, all of the above, is to kind of contextualize it or tweak it and maybe even sometimes disguise it. And I have had the opportunity or the ability and the tricks of the trade to hide certain things, whether it be music or some plugins and stuff. But yes, nonetheless, we're able to put in the because of the hours that I put in, I'm able to then address certain issues, particularly in the audio space. But consistency, back to the term, consistency is discomfort. It is inconvenient. It needs you to be disciplined, especially when you don't want to. And it builds your ability and resilience to execute. Yeah, it's your school fees. So this first video we're going to play, it's from Sayless Lifestyle. It's a YouTube account. It's really, really cool. Came across it a few months ago, and this particular clip is from it's Kobe Bryant before he passed away, talking about consistency and his output that's why we call him Mamba mentality, because he's ridiculous in the basketball court, and he has this amazing uncanny discipline which has brought him to the great heights. And I'll play a portion of it so you can have a listen to it and you can take it from there.
I wasn't going to catch these kids in a week. I wasn't going to catch them in a year, right? So that's when I sat down and said, okay, this is going to take some thought, all right? What do I want to work on first? All right, shooting. All right, let's knock this out. Let's focus on this. Half a year, 6 months, do nothing but shoot. All right, after that, all right, creating your own shot. And you focus. So I started creating a menu of things. When I came back the next summer, I was a little bit better, right?
A menu being like, I've got my jump shot from 15, I've got my
I got my jump shot from 15, I got my 3-point shot, like just open shots, not miss open shots, right? Be able to shoot it with speed, because those kids are so much more athletic.
Yeah.
And then the next summer I came back, I was a little better. And the summer came back, next summer I was a little better. I scored.
Yeah,
it wasn't much, but I scored.
And this is 12, 13.
12, 13. And then 14 came around, back half of 13, 14 years old, and then I was just killing everyone. And it happened in 2 years. And I wasn't expecting it to happen in 2 years, but it did, because what I had to do was work on the basics and the fundamentals. But they relied on their athleticism and their natural ability. And because I stick to the fundamentals, it just caught up to me. And then my body, my knees stopped hurting. I grew into my frame.
And then your athleticism, once you have the fundamentals, the hard work, the mindset, and you tack on the athleticism, it's game over.
Then it was game over.
Wow. So from 13, you're good, average still?
I was good. I was good. And then about the end of my third, like right when I was turning 14, I became the best player in the state.
14.
At 14.
So from 12 to 14, you went from scoring 0 to being the best in the state of all ages.
Yep. So yeah, as you can see, so there's a bit more to the video. You can check it out, but it's the case of that because you incrementally put in the work and the exercise in building these basics from the age of 12, 13, from scoring 0 buckets to being the best in the state or in the country. Of all ages. So you built in the fundamentals, you worked hard, he was consistent in his preparation, then he leapfrogged all the other people. So my takeaway is that in order to be better or be competitive in the space, it's to put in the fundamentals, to work hard, to think about things, to study, to grow. The day-by-day effort gives you in the long run, or adds value for you in the long run. And I mean, that's why I started out this thing called Pod of the Week, where every week, every Monday, I release a video on pods I think you need to know about. So that's also been a cool interaction, seeing the different people listen to it, or seeing the type of interaction I have been getting on the videos, whether it be TikTok, YouTube, or Instagram. But it's a case of I'm putting in the hard slog of listening to some of the pods, and giving you just insight into those spaces, and also seeing the interaction with the actual creators of the podcast. When I tag them in the videos and they say, "Oh, thank you so much, I so appreciate it, you made my day." For me, that's amazing, and I'm so excited about that I get, through my window, give you kind of a sight into pods that you never thought you would ever explore or search. So I invite you into that space, and it's really, really cool. There's amazing podcasts out there that's worth exploring, worth engaging, worth digesting. And then this pod, this pod in itself, the goal is to do one every month, and put out content every month, every 2 months. Just something of my thoughts, and get amazing guests and friends on this pod just to talk about their learnings. But the commitment is to do this pod every month or every second month, in amongst the other things that I'm doing. But it is to release a pod. So that's why I do this. And if you want to contribute to this podcast, absolutely drop me a mail, drop something in the comments, maybe a topic I need to cover, or something, or you want to be a guest on, just let me know, and then we can take it from there. But this is my commitment to share my thoughts and grow in this particular style of podcasting. And also from the leadership content, or the leadership approach, like I had to learn consistency in that. Is that thoughts and plans and that I've put in place and strategies I've put in place needs time to come to fruition, and not do constant changing. And any sort of strategy, business strategy, all those type of strategies require time for the strategy to work itself out, or to play itself out, and then we can start making changes. But the challenge, or this is the other side to consistency, we change too quickly, and that is a problem, and could work against you. And this is evident in the next point I want to bring out, is that the evidence of consistency is not seen in an instant. It's what's seen and enjoyed over time. Sometimes sticking with something is more beneficial than the instant results of constant change. And the best way I can describe this is this next video from one of my favorite speakers of all time, someone who's inspired me and redefined my brain synapses, and that's Simon Sinek. Oh, man, and he's talking about consistency, and this video really messed me up, or provided the necessary roadmap in my thinking around consistency. So have a listen.
Do you love your wife? Yes. Right? Prove it. Like, what's the metric? Give me the number that helps me know, right? Because when you met her, you didn't love her, right? Now you love her, right? Tell me the day the love happened. It's an impossible question, right? But it's not that it doesn't exist. It's that it's much easier to prove over time, right? So all leadership is the same thing. It's about transitions. So if you were to go to the gym, right? It's like exercise, right? If you go to the gym and you work out and you come back and you look in the mirror, you will see nothing. And if you go to the gym the next day and you come back and you look in the mirror, you will see nothing, right? So clearly there's no results, can't be measured, it must not be effective. So we quit, right? Or if you fundamentally believe that this is the right course of action and you stick with it, like in a relationship, I bought her flowers and I wished her happy birthday, and she doesn't love me. Clearly I'll give up. You know, that's not what happens. If you believe there's something there, you commit yourself to an act of service. You commit yourself to the regime, the exercise. You can screw it up. You can eat chocolate cake one day. You can skip a day or two. You know, it allows for that. But if you stick with it consistently, I'm not exactly sure what day, but I know you'll start getting into shape. I know it. And the same with the relationship. It's not about the events. It's not about intensity. It's about consistency, right? You go to the dentist twice a year, your teeth will fall out. You have to brush your teeth every day for 2 minutes. What does brushing your teeth twice a day for 2 minutes do? Nothing. Unless you do it every day, twice a day for 2 minutes, right? It's the consistency. Going to the gym for 9 hours does not get you into shape. Working out every day for 20 minutes gets you into shape.
Yeah, so, yeah. Short video, I mean, it's part of a longer video clip from other sources of what he's done. But it's so true that, like the gym, the difference, working 90 minutes a day doesn't get you fit. 20 minutes over a longer period of time, but 20 minutes a day over a longer period of time, that gets you fit. So consistency is seen over time, or the effects of consistency is seen over time. And I liked what he said, consistency is transition. Is that in our leadership skills, in my particular, something I've learned is that in my leadership process and things I need to impart is that it's transitionary. It takes time. Any plan, any process, any growth takes time to work itself out or to come into effect, and then it makes sense to change. But changing at a whim because you're not seeing any effects right now is just silly. And so when I had to learn to see consistency as a tool, not as a tool for growth and not entirely a measuring stick of success, in essence. So if I don't see any changes now, then I'm not successful, which is unfair to say because I haven't given it enough time in doing the same thing over and over. Yeah. And also, I mean, I found this very true and very real in building a culture, particularly in any organization, particularly the organization I'm part of, is that it takes time to build a culture of trust. It takes time to build a culture when people trust each other enough to be vulnerable amongst each other, or with each other. It takes time. It takes me as the leader being vulnerable and showing the way, but also inviting them into that space and saying it's a safe space. But it took time. It takes time. And I know with my leaders, in particular, that is what we've had to grow and cultivate, which then spills into the rest of the organization or the rest of the ministry. But it takes time. It takes time. It takes time. So I'm forever grateful for Mr. Sinek. But yes, Mr. Sinek is cool. And then number 3, the third one is that consistency. It builds a roadmap to deal with the effects of failure. And I'll read you what I wrote down, is that failure is a given and one of the best tools for learning. But its effects can and does often render one helpless. You stop functioning, you stop showing up, but by being consistent in just showing up, in just doing the basics, you end up having a tool that serves as a reminder or reminds you yourself of what needs to be done to get done, and also your potential. So in the good times when you were doing this consistent thing, your body and your mind is reminded of what you are able to do, and so therefore you're able to do it again and again and again. So you get able to get up and move forward. So when you're consistent in the good times, it serves you as a tool of resilience in the bad times. So that's something I'm learning, particularly when you have mental bad days or just bad days, is that you have to just be reminded of those days when you just got up and did it. And so today, let's get up and do it. To summarize what I just said in all this long video, which was meant to be a short one, is that number 1, consistency is discomfort, but it is the bedrock of success. Number 2, consistency is transitionary. It's seen, the effects and the results are seen over time. And then thirdly, consistency builds the roadmap to deal with the effects of failure. So I hope you found this helpful. I hope that this little nugget of truth is helpful to you, that you find ways to build consistency in your life, in your daily life. So when the tough times come, you're able to then push through and lean on something to push through. But it's so worth it. It's so worth it. Thank you for listening to Things We Learn on a Monday morning. I hope you enjoyed it. Please like and subscribe and leave a comment. I would love to hear from you. If you want to share your thoughts on the podcast, please write in the comment section, or want to suggest a topic to cover, please do leave it in the comments. If not, just say hi. See you soon.